Welcome out to the shop. Here we are, well, my garage. Yeah, here we are. Finally, gonna work on the 70. The 72 just sitting over there. Poor guy, all lonely. I think there's an off chance I'm gonna take the competition shifter out of that truck and put a shifter in. It's a little more, that'll teach my wife how to actually drive it with the competition shifter in it. We'll go from there, see what happens. She can drive it. She loves driving it. She actually is quite a knucklehead when she drives it. She's got a lead foot. But anyway, but it's the reverse lockout, which it's a pain in the butt when you're in parking lots and stuff like that. So it's got a B&M, not a quarter stick. Yeah, I think it is a quarter stick. Either way, it's whatever one's got a reverse lockout. I can't remember which one I put in there. So to make a long story even longer, the 70 behind me, my dad's old truck, had a fuel line issue. The fuel line came off the carburetor, went down, and Dad bolted a fuel filter to the manifold itself. So I think it was getting hot, and when it got really hot, just engine temp, or even climbing as we're driving, the engine temp, when the engine temperature would climb, I think it would just boil the gas right out of the filter, and I'd get a hot start issue, more like a vapor lock than a hot start. So anyway, so we're going to mess around here today, and what I've done today so far is I am building my first AN fuel line, so bear with me as we do this. This is just a Summit brand. It's a fuel filter that comes straight off of the carburetor. I've got a fitting here, whatever those threads are. Jet noise. I live near a Navy base. Lots of jet noise. No big. Jets are cool. Anyway, they're F-18s, by the way. So I come off of here into a Summit branded fuel filter, and I'm going to come over with a 90, and it bends over into some. I made this AN fitting. First time I ever put an AN fitting together. Actually, it turned out pretty good. I'll show you what I used to cut it. It was kind of cool. And then I'm going to come down here, and I was having an issue. That's just a stock fuel pump down there. So with the stock pump, I learned that using the AN adapter at the stock pump because the stock pump has one of them guys, which is a flare fitting. And trying to get a AN fitting with a flare fitting that probably doesn't leak was going to be a pain in the butt. So I'm going to use this guy right here. I already put it on there. It is an adapter. It goes from 3/8 hardline to, if I can get it to focus, 6 AN. It says it's for aluminum line. I don't have aluminum line. This is stock. So I know a lot of people that are using these adapters on steel hardline like this that works. If there's a disclaimer, because there's going to be an engine fire or something, here's your disclaimer. Don't use it on steel line, I guess. Anyway, here's your scolding. So we're going to go here. It's going to be a very short line. It's going to come right down to this. It's going to go down into here once I connect that to the fuel pump, and we'll go from there. Should be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's go make another fitting. All right. First, we're going to reattach with that on there. I'm going to reattach the old stock fuel line to the fuel pump back in the same flare fitting. That guy should be up there about like that. I'll tighten it up. You'll notice I've got some, these are just regular old channel lock. They're a small channel lock with just pinching this fuel line going in, because the tank sits higher than the pump. So if you don't do that and you take your fuel line out, you don't pinch it or put a bolt in this or whatever to get the fuel to stop coming, it'll just gush out of your outlet port. Ask me how I know. That's always fun. So we are going to get this and line wrench. I mean, this fuel line's obviously been taken off of here 2 or 3 different times or more, and the nut is a little ginked up, but that's okay. If I get that up where I want it. All right up in there. Tighten that sucker down. I didn't put any goop on the threads. I mean, it's a, what do you call it, a flare fitting, so it shouldn't need it. Keyword is shouldn't. There. All right. That's not tweaked. Too bad. So, Gorilla Torque. Kind of, sort of. And we'll go from there. All right, that's done. Skip a step. We'll go make the line in a second. Because, there it is. Coming up through there. Here's the line going to come up here. I only need a very, very short piece of hose to come down through there. So once this is tightened down, I need it to kind of bend a little bit. So hopefully that'll stay about like that. Once I tighten all this, this is just kind of loosey-goosey. So once I tighten it all up, it should be good. All right, so I got the line cut, or I got it marked. Haven't cut it yet. Just kind of eyeballing it on there. I had to put the fitting on and get it together. And so here's my mark. I'm going to put some black electrical tape right around that mark. And I'm going to use a pair of cable cutters. It kind of squeezes it together a little bit, so you got to kind of be careful. But other than that, it's how I did this one, and it worked out just fine, shoving it inside that little yellow collar. And once you get it inside the collar, it's game on. And a little tip I learned, God, from Hot Rod Magazine or something 100 years ago was to take a little drip of engine oil and you stick it inside the little drip of engine oil in the rubber itself, because the rubber, it's got to go inside that as these AN fittings go. Come on. Once you, geez, a long ways. Once you get the fuel line inside that fitting, or LR, I'm screwing up the camera. Once it goes inside there, then there's the threaded part that the actual fuel line goes on itself, or that goes inside the fuel line, inside that collar. So once you get that, you put a little bit of engine oil on here, or just inside, just a drip inside that fuel line. It'll help screw that in a little easier than trying to dry screw it. All right, here we are. My mark. I'm just going to take, this is just the cheapest black electrical tape you can find. Nothing special, just $1, $1.50 a roll. I always keep the cheap stuff around for doing just any kind of project. If I'm actually doing electrical work where I need tape, and that's when I get the stuff that costs a little more. So I'm going to put this right in the center of my mark, so that way I know to cut right in the center of this tape. The only thing this tape is there for is just kind of protect my fingers, or to kind of make the cut, help aid in making it just a little bit. I'm going to pull it really tight on this last one. Whoops. Pull it tight so it kind of helps keep the stuff together. Now, I know they make cutters for this stuff. There's cutters made. You can get them. They cost about 30 or 40 bucks, even just the cheap ones from Summit. So the same concept, I figured, is just these $10 or $12 ones from Home Depot made by Wiss. They're just a cable cutter for cutting big old hunks of electrical cable, and like 6-strand or 4-strand, like, I don't know, 610 or 6, whatever, you know, the big stuff. And I just used it to cut this end, and it worked out just fine. Oh, okay. Anyway, I just put that right smack dab in the middle. Basically where my mark was, and I try to keep it square so that the hose isn't crooked. And it will pinch it. It will kink it. And you can kind of work that out after you cut it. And just give it a good squeeze. You can hear it. So, see, it kind of egged it out a little bit. Just stupid camera not focusing. Give it a little squeeze. So there's that. Then we will find the electrical tape. Good luck finding that, right? Take that off of there. Try not to get the strands all stripped out. So now the strands aren't all out of there. Hopefully this collar, just work it into there without, sorry, that's, now I just screwed up because I had to back up. See if I can hold that. Get them all pushed in there so it doesn't look like crap. Get in there. So then you gotta screw it down to make sure. You gotta make sure it's bottomed. So what I also have is this handy dandy. Again, just some cheapos off of Amazon, just the AN fitting holder for the vise. They got big magnets on the back of them. Don't know the brand. Again, just probably offshore junk. But they got 2 holders on top, and then they got this one on the side. I just put it in the one on the side, give it just a tighten, so then I can really push it in there to make sure it is seated. And it is now seated all the way into the hole. So now I get my little can. This garage is a mess because we just moved again. Like I said, we told you guys before we had moved. Now, stay very. I'm going to set this in the vise, from the bottom up. And again, it's just that's to protect the AN fitting so it doesn't mar it all up, and it just kind of holds it. It's a nice platform to hold it in there. Excuse me. Just a. Let me get some oil going. There we go. Just a dab. Literally a dab. Get a little bit on the end of that. Wipe it on your pants. That's what all the pro mechanics do. And then straight in to the top. And you can now hold this on the bottom, push that in, and engage the threads and screw that in. Then you get your 6AN wrench and screw that puppy on in there. It'll get a little tough toward the end as it starts to bite. Oops, make it a couple of marks on the fitting itself. Here, I buy these little wrenches. Again, it's an Amazon shot. Wasn't nothing special. And she's bottomed. Again, I don't know, $6 a piece, $8 a piece for these little 6/8 wrenches. I got an adjustable one too, because I learned that some of these collars are bigger than 6AN, so you need like a this to adjust on. That, my friends, is a completed AN line for our fuel line. How cool is that, huh? It's clean, it's slick. Oh, that silver stuff just comes right off. And that's how I made this one too. So it went together super easy. And a little trick was that engine oil. I don't know if anybody else does that, but again, that was from a Carcraft or Hot Rod magazine tip from a long time ago. All right, let's go install it in the truck. All right, here we are. Our handy dandy fuel line we made. This was in the way. There's the fuel line down there. We'll screw that guy on there. finger tight. Then we'll come up here. Screw this guy on. Get him on there tight. One thing about this filter I'm not really digging is it actually kind of kicks that way a little bit, but I guess there's nothing I can really do about it. Let me get my other, let me get my 6/8 wrenches. Let's see, is that, I think I need my adjustment for that one. Adjustable for this guy. This one I never did tighten. Now this is the inlet to the carburetor. It's a I don't remember what their thread size was. That looks about right. Where I'm going to want it should clear the air cleaner. So we'll tighten this guy down. Bend him down just a little. Hopefully it'll stay down. There we go. I'm glad that gray stuff comes off of there. Yeah, that looks nice. That's going to be good. And then this guy down here. Same deal. Get the old tighty tight. I have never dealt with or used AN fittings before, but I thought since I was kind of going for the 1970s retro look on this truck, that these braided lines with the red and blue, I mean they got black and gray and everything else, but I thought the red and blue still kind of gives it that old school 1970s early 80s look, because that's what this truck is all about, is late 70s early 80s. All right, well, I try to start this sucker up and see if there's any leaks. Well, we're running. We got no leaks, no runs, no drips, no errors. Everybody remembers that video or commercial. Again, just a short piece of 3/8 or well 6AN line, a couple 6AN fittings, an adapter for the 3/8 steel line to a 6AN fitting, 6AN 90 to a Summit branded 6AN filter with and that had a 90 on it, and then I just got an AN fitting, an adapter for the carburetor as well. So I think this is a success. You guys remember that was bolted down there, and I think that was just letting the fuel get too hot inside this filter. It wasn't clogged. I pulled it apart, but I think it was just too much for that filter, too much heat. And I think the fuel was actually evaporating or I was getting like a vapor lock. We'll find out. I'm going to take it for a test drive. And now that this thing's running and idling and got a little bit of an exhaust leak over there, I hear a little ticky tick. We are going to take it for a drive. And then we're going to do a video of a little walk around this pickup. A couple people have asked me about that, so we'll do that.